Durarara Season 1. This show has, aside from one of the craziest pronunciations in all of anime, has some of the craziest storytelling I've ever seen in a series. And the reason I'm doing a review for the first season of the show is because I recently, finally, got to watch X2, or just Durarara 2, on Netflix, and I'm having a great time with it. I had to rewatch the whole first series as well because I watched that when it came out on Toonami in like 2008 or something. Like, no, that was way before 2000. It was like 2005 or even before that maybe. But that show came out such a long time ago on Toonami, and I loved it. I loved that show. It was a great show at the time. All the twists and the turns, and there won't really be any spoilers in this because I don't want to take up too much time with it. But I had such a great time with it. And I was like, when I found out that 2 was coming out, or that it was already out, I was like, I have to watch that. And I watched like the first episode on Netflix, and I was like, you know what? I don't remember anything. It was years ago. Like, I saw that show before I got into college, which was 5 years ago. So it was like I saw 20. I think it was like 22 episodes or something like that. So I saw like 22 or 23 episodes, including the OVA, and it was just like I don't remember anything that happened. I remember like the big things for like our main 3 characters. I remember their big reveals, and that was it. I was like, there's so much other little intricate stuff that happens in this anime. Where I was like, I have to go back and watch it because I'm like, I know this happens with Celti's head, and then this happens, but I don't remember how it connects or who this person is or why they look that way and just all this other stuff. So I went back and watched the whole thing. Still had a great time with it going through, even though I knew kind of how it was going to end. Still had a phenomenal time rewatching it after such a long time. Also loved the music. I've loved the music for a super long time. The first opening is my favorite out of the 4 songs that play for the original series. First opening, I like the second opening too. Like, the only song I don't really like is really the second ending, and that's it. I love the first ending. I love the first and second opening, and the third ending is okay, but I don't like. It's not a song that I would like download or anything. The other 3 though, I really enjoy. But I had a great time with this show. It has some of the best characters. It has some of the best episodes I've ever seen in anime. I just recently saw an episode. The last episode I watched for season 2 of Durarara 2. That and the Shizuo episode are like 2 of the best episodes I've ever seen in anime. As far as comedy goes, and like a show that like mixes comedy, action, and drama, those are some of the funniest episodes solely based on, especially in the most recent one, because they just keep swearing all the time, and it just makes me laugh. It's especially the new one that I was laughing so much because he was just. I won't even spoil it, but it was just so funny, just the dialogue in that. And then the Shizuo one, I love Shizuo, he's one of my favorites. And he just loses his mind, just crazy action, but it's funny action, so I love that. And he's swearing a bunch in like his episode. But all of these characters, it's a great ensemble series. It makes me think a lot of like Soul Eater, where they have a ton of characters, but they utilize them very well, especially in the manga for Soul Eater, because the anime was much shorter than the manga was. But they have, like, in the manga, they had a ton more characters, and a lot of the supporting characters really get to shine through the Soul Eater manga. But they actually do that in the anime version of this show. So I really love that. It's like just a bunch of people, everyone. For the most part, a lot of people get their names in the actual intro itself, even when they don't show up for like 4 episodes in a row. So you get to know who everyone is, especially if you read Japanese, because sometimes I'd have to remember from hearing their names. So it's just really cool. Like, I love how they do such an ensemble cast, and it works perfectly. With this being from the creator of Baccano, I didn't know this when I first watched the series, but it's the same creator from Baccano, and so that's why 2 of the characters actually show up in one of the episodes, which I really loved. And like, yeah, just like there's some little hints in there, and they talk about real anime and manga all the time, which I actually love when other anime do that. And it's like, oh man, this character is like this person from this anime. It's like, oh, I know that anime, or I don't know this one. But I remember when I watched this on Toonami when it first came out, the first time I saw like they had real anime in this show, I was like, that's Hellgirl. Like, as soon as I saw that picture, I was like, that's Hellgirl, because I love the Hellgirl anime. And I was like, that's Hellgirl. Like, they have actual pictures of real anime in this anime, and like, I think that was the first time I actually saw that, and I think that's why it kind of blew my mind. This was the first anime where I saw that happen, where they talked about other anime in the anime itself. So I was like, that's that. Like for me at the time, I was like, that's freaking crazy. Like I've never seen that before, so I really loved it. But it's such a great series. Like I said, I don't want to do spoilers, even though it's such an old series. Um, but I kind of just wanted to do this review for people who may not have seen it. But for people who have seen it, you guys know, like, I love this series. Obviously, I loved it if I took the time to rewatch the whole thing just so I remembered everything and kind of got to reacquaint myself with all the characters to go into the second series, which is doing really great, and I'm excited for it. I don't know. I believe season 3 is supposed to be the last one for Durarara 2, but I'm not 100% sure, and that comes out July 1st on Netflix. So I'm getting through season 2. I'm on like episode 5, or I'm going to be starting episode 6 of the second season, and I'm loving that. The music for the new shows are pretty good too, and I'm going to do a review for the first season of Durarara 2 because I enjoyed that. But I wanted to do a review on this. It seemed so weird doing it, but I was like, you know what? I definitely plan on doing a review for the other shows, or for the other seasons of the new series. So I thought, I might as well do it. I just recently watched every episode, and as old as it is, I don't want to do spoilers, and that's why, because I would love to talk about all the little, specific stuff. But just as a vague thing, I just love how they blended the story. Like, there's all these secrets for all our characters, and it's just stuff you don't expect, and it's just little things. It's like, this is why this happened, this is why this started. I didn't want this to happen, and it's, transformed into something totally different. And I've just like I just fell in love with the show and all its characters, and then the ending where you get all the reveals for our big three. I was just like, wow, it was just crazy. Like, it's just the things people do and how they end up linked together with these overarching stories. It's just amazing. So I really love this show. I might actually end up buying. This might be one of the few anime I ever end up buying, because I only have two. I have Soul Eater on Blu-ray and Samurai Champloo. Those are the only two. Space Dandy, you have to. It's like a weird thing, so I don't think I could get it unless I buy like 4 different things to get the whole series. Cause so I'm kind of waiting till they just do a Blu-ray for it. But I have, that's really, I have Soul Eater, Samurai Champloo, and I have a ton of Naruto, because that was like my first big one. So I have like 12 seasons of Naruto. I have 10 of the original series and then 2 of Shippuden. I skipped, once it got to the fillers in the original series, I was like, when I'm rich, I'll go back and buy like those useless 5 seasons or whatever. But those are the only 3 anime that I actually have. So I might actually end up buying this once the series ends. I'm sure I could get the first one. I can actually get Durarara by itself, but I might actually end up buying it, even though it's weird. It's like you can easily watch it over and over again, but it's kind of got mysteries in it as well. So it's just really fun, because it's always like, what is gonna happen next? So really love this one. There is an OVA, which I didn't get to watch that. For whatever reason, they don't put OVAs on Netflix, which always kind of annoyed me. But they don't have the OVA for the original series on there, which is fairly unfortunate, because that is a really good lead-in to Durarara 2, because it introduces all the new characters that are going to be in the show. So they introduce, well, I don't want to give anything away, but they introduce all the new characters that are common now. But I remember when I first saw that on Toonami, and it's like after the story finishes, and then they do the OVA. I was like, what is this episode? Like, this is a crappy episode. Like, why did they make this episode after the main story? Like, it just skipped time, and then it's like, random people are being introduced now and stuff. I'm like, what in the world is this? Like, what is happening right now? It was so confusing when I first saw that series. And it was such a long time ago. It was way before they did the second series, so it was really weird, because it's like, oh, this is kind of an OVA thing, because of course the manga had already continued past where the series was at. So there was just a million things, and it's like, why did they introduce these characters? And it's just one episode, and that was the end of the series for like, I think for like 3 or 4 years. Maybe it wasn't 2005. It may have been later, but that show came out a long time ago, and the second series has only been out for about a year. Like, the second series came out like last year, so it's been, even if it came out in 2010, which I know it didn't, because it had to be early when I was in high school, so that probably was 2008. or something like that, 2007, 2008. So it was off for a super long time, and I was just left with that OVA when I first watched it. Like, oh, why did they do this? I was so confused at the time because I was surprised. Thinking back on it, I'm surprised that even came on Toonami too. That they showed like the OVA thing, but it was just great. It was a weird episode when I first watched it. I was like, it's not a crappy episode, but it's just weird because they're showing off all these new people, and it's clearly the end of the series, and then they didn't do this series too until like last year. So it was really weird just being left off with that, and I'm like, what? And that was before I actually read manga too. So it was like I remember looking it up a little bit, but I never actually got into reading the manga. But really love the first series, and it's hard not to call it the first season, but Durarara 2 is technically its own thing because it has the 2 in the title now, and it should be, I guess, because it was 5 years later. It probably should be technically a different series, but really, really amazing anime. Definitely one of my favorite anime that I've ever seen. It has great mysteries that get wrapped up nicely. Um, Outside of when I first saw it and the OVA thing came after the whole story in it, I'm just like, that's confusing. Aside from that, just the main story itself and how everything wrapped up, very well done. Love the series. Um, it's just fun. Like I couldn't recommend it enough. It truly is one of my favorite anime. Like I never really included it on my list, but now that I've like finally gotten back into watching it, I'm like, man, I forgot how much I really loved this anime because it had just been such a long time ago. Like every time I think of my favorite anime, I think of like stuff that I've seen recently. So I think of like Soul Eater and stuff like that, and that's only within a couple of years. And Naruto I watched for Naruto's still going on in anime form. So Naruto I always remember it because it wasn't like, oh, here's 22 episodes and then it was done. Naruto went on forever. So even though that came before I still remember it. But after rewatching that first, I guess completing the whole first series, it's like, man, this is definitely one of the best anime out there. Like, it's really amazing. Has me super amped to watch Baccano because I'm like, if this is good, I definitely want to check out Baccano because I know it's in the same style, but it's even more supernatural based. So it has me excited. I want to check that out now, and I'm pretty sure I believe that might have a couple of seasons. I think it's like 2 or maybe 3 seasons on that too. But it's like, man, that makes me want to check that out because I love this show so much. So I couldn't recommend it enough. Like, it's definitely one of the best series out there. It has some great mysteries. All the characters are great. You've seen them cosplayed, even if you've never seen the series. You've seen Izai and Shizuo cosplayed, guaranteed, because there's somebody at every convention. There's a Shizuo and there's an Izai, guaranteed. But really love this anime. If you haven't seen it, highly recommend it. If you have seen it, I would love to know what you guys thought about this series. Of course, please put spoiler tags if you're going to talk about actual spoilers, because I would love to. And I might end up doing just a flat out spoiler video. I really don't know just yet. I'm going to do my review for the first season of Durarara 2. But I might do like a full on just spoiler video talking about it. Because there's just so many things. And plus, since it's all fresh in my head, it just makes the most sense. I might actually end up doing that. But I still want to know what you guys think about it. If I do end up doing that, I'll put a link down below. And like I said, I know I won't do it after this, but now that I've thought about it, like, I might do it in a day or two. Like, I'll sit on it for a little bit and be like, I might talk about it just to go through the spoilers. But would love to know what you thought about this series, so please comment below. Let me know favorite things about it, least favorite things about it, and of course, thank you guys for watching.